What do fancy coats, gloves, hats, and saddles have in common? Leather. Leather can be tanned in a factory, or better yet, at home with old-fashioned methods, usually accomplished with a few easy steps. Good day, honorable judges, guests, fellow 4-H members, and competitors. Our names are Austin Fougere
and Julia Laundry,
and we are members of the 40 Creek 4-H Club. Our method of tanning is simple and easy, but does the job. It only takes about 5 steps and you end up with a nice piece of leather.
To tan your own pelts at home is convenient, easy, and much cheaper. No shipping to fur factories and paying the high cost to create leather. You also have a quality product you created on your own. The tools we will be using today include a 19-liter pail,
19-liter pail,
a measuring cup,
a measuring cup,
and a hockey puck.
Hockey puck.
The hockey puck will prevent hides from floating in the mix, and the measuring cup will be used for both our salt and water. Materials we'll be using today include dish soap.
Dish soap. We like to use Dawn dish soap because we found it's the most gentle on the hide.
Alum.
Alum.
Salt.
Salt.
When buying salt, make sure you're buying coarse and non-iodized salt. Assorted furs.
Assorted furs.
And tanning solution.
And tanning solution.
The tanning solution is just an alternative method to what we'll be showing you today.
Step 1. Obtain your fur. This may be from your own traps or from a local trapper. If you are obtaining your own furs, you must have a trapping license and trap line or permission on private property. We got our furs from a local trapper. If you trap your own fur, you'll need a skin, stretch, dry, and dry the hide.
Step 2. Once you have the fur, mix together 1 can of alum. If our buckets will separate. Once you add in your alum, make sure you mix in 130 grams of your coarse non-iodized salt. If you don't have a measuring cup readily available, you can use 2 scoops of your now empty alum can. Add your water and then mix thoroughly.
Put the hide into the mixture. Salt water will make the hide more buoyant.
This is where we would add our hockey puck. Unfortunately, we lost it during our travels.
Once your hide is sunk in water, soak for 48 to 72 hours or 2 to 3 days. If you soak for longer than this time, the fur might fall out of the hide.
Step 4. Remove the fur from the water and then into a separate container. Wash with soap before rinsing in a separate tub or sink.
Step 5. Place on a stretching board and lightly dry your hide before stretching really well. You should work and stretch your hide until fully dry.
This is an example of a stretching board. You can buy them in different sizes depending on the animal you are working with.
If you are successful, the leather will be soft to the touch.
When working with your hide, make sure you're moving in a back and forth motion so you get every inch of it fully stretched. Leather and tanned hides have many uses in today's world. Some of these uses can include clothing, accessories, general decor, or even furniture. As an example for some of these items, today we have brought a leather computer bag.
This is the leather computer bag.
Earrings.
Earrings.
And even a belt.
and a belt. Our cost is lower than a professional tanner. Our prices are alum powder, $5.99. Water, free. Coarse salt, $3.29 per 1.36 kilograms. Dawn dish soap, $5.49. Bucket, $9.77. Animal hide, locally obtained. Our total cost on these items are $24.54. These materials should be adequate to make at least one full deer hide. When it comes to professional prices, they can get pretty high in cost. Depending on the animal, they can go from $1 to $10,000. You hear that? $10,000. That's a lot of money for an animal hide. Some examples are beaver, $95. Muskrat, $23. Mink, $26. Fox, $36. Marten, $31. Lynx, $46. Coyote, $40. Impala, $40. Goat, $50. And bison, $2,000. Those are some cheaper costs on professional tanning.
As an example of professional tanning, today we have brought an impala, a goat, and this marten. Licensed trappers will trap the fur-bearing animals and sell resulting furs. Currently, little money can be made from this process with any hope for a profit. Countries like the UK, Germany, and France are all trying to ban the sale of furs and are hoping to have it fully phased out by 2025. Hey Austin, what do you call a mountain goat?
I don't know.
A hillbilly.
That's a bad joke.
Well, whatever floats your goat, I guess. Jokes aside, let's talk about ethics for a minute. Ethics are a matter of opinion, and because of this, I can't answer it for you. However, I will do my best to briefly explain our thoughts on the tanning process. All of our hides for this demo were sourced from a local trapper. They had used trapping as a way to protect their smaller livestock, targeting many of the animals that would have been predators. Once the animal had been trapped, all parts will be used, whether it would be for food, bait, sale, or even clothing in some situations. It reassures us about the tanning process because we've used all the parts. And it's simply simple, that's a great way to put it, because it's at home. But without the use of the harsh chemicals, it makes it better. Many harsh chemicals can be found within the commercial style tanneries and are often used without any consideration towards animal welfare. By sourcing local furs and carefully working the hides, we have found this example of tanning to be an ethical way to tan hides at home.
In conclusion, with materials consisting of dish soap, alum, salt, and a pail, you can soak, rinse, and tan your hides at home. We recommend ethically sourcing and using your hides.
This concludes our demonstration on how to tan your hides at home.
Are there any questions?
Lady in the back.
How long would it have taken for you to stretch that marten hide that you showed us?
The question that's being asked is how long will it take to stretch the marten hide that you showed us? Well, it takes a little bit of time because you have to work it and stretch it out. So then you will actually see the difference because it'll go from like a tan color to like a more white color. It takes about like a couple hours, I'd say.
Does this answer your question?
Yes.
Eric?
What is the most expensive hide that you have heard of?
The question that has been asked is what is the most expensive hide that we've heard of? Well, the most expensive hide was a giraffe and it's $10,000. Does this answer your question?
Yeah. Out of all of the hides, what is your favorite and what is the most common hide that is bought?
The question that has been asked is what was our favorite hide to work with and what is the most common one to be bought? We haven't currently done a lot of experience or working with a ton of different hides. It's mostly been with smaller animals And for that answer, I think working with the marten, or our current project, we're working on a beaver, and I think those would be my favorite. However, I'm not really looking through auction records, is a good way to put it. So I'm not super familiar with what animals are selling the best right now. Does that answer your question?
Yep. What is the tanning solution for?
The question that has been asked is, what is the tanning solution for? Well, the tanning solution is for like just bigger animals and stuff. Does this answer your question?
Yep.
What would you do with the marten hide?
And the question has been asked, what would you do with the marten hide? To answer this question, it depends what you want to do. A lot of the times, if you aren't tanning it, a lot of trappers will often sell the hides directly through auction. If you tan it, you can either choose to work with it in specific ways, whether you want to try some kind of craft, like a jewelry. However, for us, you won't really be doing anything specific with it. It was purely for this demonstration, if this answers your question.
Yes.
Are there any questions? In the back.
You said what would happen if you soak it too long. What if you don't soak it long enough in the salty elements?
The question has been asked. We mentioned what happens if we soak it for too long, but what happens if you don't soak it for long enough? If you don't soak the hide long enough, it becomes really difficult to work with and you can't stretch it out correctly. Does this answer your question?
Yeah.
Are there any questions?
What if you want to just have the leather without the fur? What's the process?
The question that has been asked is, what would the process be if we only wanted the leather and not the fur? Well, I don't really know about that, do you?
So a lot of the times if you want to try to remove the fur off the leather, you want to make sure you have the leather stretched out, and you want to do your best to take some sort of rake or another scraping like utensil and try to get as much fur off as possible while brushing in a downwards angle with the fur. Does this answer your question?
Are there any more questions?
Are there any questions?
Are there any more questions?
If there are no further questions, this concludes our demonstration on how to tan hides at home.